Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so let's talk about the answers of these questions now. Now, keep one thing in your mind that while writing the answers of these questions, while responding to these questions, you need to write your answer in the provided space only. If one line is given, your answer must be one line. If two lines are given, you can write your answer in those two lines. But there is no need to create another third line, fourth line when that is not provided there. Now, question number 1 says, in what way is the structure of redwood trees the opposite of most trees? Line number 2 is mentioned there. Now, the line number 2 does not mean that you will find your answer there. Line number 2 is for this mentioned phrase here, the opposite of most trees. This phrase has been extracted from line number 2. You must keep this in your mind. And look at the answer now, that branches get bigger towards the top. Your answer must be very precise, to the point, and targeted answer. Now this answer is written in the candidate's own words. You can write that if the question demands explicit understanding, you can take out the sentence from the text and you can just paste it there. But if you are writing that in your own words, that shows that you have the clarity about the text and you have understood it well. So he has written the answer in his own words, and a very precise and well written answer. So you are supposed to write very clear answers. If the examiner gets the impression that you are clear about the text and you can write that in your own words, then that means you are going to get your marks. Second question is, using your own words, explain. First question asked for explicit understanding. Next question, one thing, this is your own word question. Second thing, this demands explanation. Now explanation means that it requires implicit understanding, and this requires your understanding of the text, and you have to write that in your own words also. If you take out the sentences from the text and write there the way they are written there, even if it is correct, you won't get marks. Now, using your own words, the words are given, the phrase has been taken from line number 3, and it says ancient giant of the forest. Ancient giant. You need to, in any such phrase, you need to spot one, two or three most important words that are given there. Like in this case here, the word ancient and the word giant, these two words are the important words in this phrase. And while writing your answer, while interpreting it, while writing the explanation, you need to provide the synonym of these two words, or you need to write the meanings of these two words. That means you cannot use ancient and giant in your answer. If you do, that means you have no understanding of these two words, ancient giant of the forest. So look at the answer. It's one of the oldest and tallest trees in the forest. It's a huge tree that has been there for hundreds or thousands of years. So that it explains something that is ancient. Ancient means something very old, and giant means something huge, something gigantic, or something very tall. So it explains it. That means you will get your 2 marks. The explanation of giant and explanation of forest is there. You cannot use the same words in your answer. Keep this thing in your mind. Then look at C. Give 2 features of the enormous trunk of nameless that would make it difficult to begin to climb the particular tree. Line 5 to 9, that is quite a bigger part of the text, and you need to read that part, and you need to take out 2 details. When your question starts with give, it requires explicit understanding. Go back to the text, underline that specific part, take out those 2 features and mention them here. See, first is, there were no branches on its lower reaches. Okay, fine, that's why it was difficult to climb. So there were, one thing is fine. Look at the second one, soft and crumbly. Now that is a bit vague, or something that is not clear. Soft and crumbly, what? If you don't mention the word bark there, you won't get your marks. See, if you can, 1 out of 2. So the student got the marks for first part, that was there were no branches on low reaches. Okay, he got 1 mark. And soft and crumbly, because the answer is not clear. If he just wrote there one more word, that soft and crumbly bark, he would have got his mark. But soft and crumbly is really vague, it's not clear, that's why the student couldn't score that mark. So while even copying something from the text, remember that you have to answer that specific question, that specific question that is mentioned there, and your answer must be very clear. If this is not clear and you are just writing 12, 10, 15, 2, 5, 6 words there, you won't get your marks. So one thing is accuracy, and second thing is that one thing is accuracy, and second thing is that use of words, that how many words you are writing there, but writing correct words. So soft and crumbly bark would get you the answer. So give 2 features, done. Second is give 2 details that show, again give 2 details, just go back to the text, read their relentless speed, something, any detail that tells us that this tree show the relentless speed, that means it grows continuously or it grows with a speed. Line number 18 is mentioned, and the student has written can grow from a seed into, okay, and second is diameter, that is, so he got his answer and he has just copied the details from the text. Any question that starts with the word give, that means answer is clearly written there, go back to the text, that specific part, this is, in this case it was line number 18, go there, read that, take it out and mention it there, you will get your 2 marks. Then E part, explain what Mo is thinking when he looked again at the lowest branches of smaller tree standing next to nameless. Now this question starts with the word explain, that means you need to understand it yourself. First you need to understand it and then explain it in your own words. So this is line number 22, go back there. Now let's read the answer. He is wondering about that tree. What? The answer is not clear at all. Basically he is wondering that I can use that smaller tree to reach the bigger one. So he is wondering, that is correct, but wondering what? We are not clear about it, that's why you have not been given the answer, given the point here. So you didn't get, the student didn't get the mark here. Whenever you are explaining something, you need to explain it with clarity. If you don't explain it with clarity, that means you won't get your marks. Next question is F. Now usually this question is, now I think in summer paper and winter paper this question was C or D. So this question has 3 marks, and this is 1 feeling and 2 details question, right? How does Mo feel about trying to climb nameless? Now I think now you are clear about it, that if a question asks about the feeling, that requires implicit understanding. That means you will read that part of the text, you will understand the feeling of that political character, that particular character, and then you will write that feeling in your own word. You cannot copy the feeling from the text, any specific word that is mentioned there, you cannot copy that, you will infer it yourself, you will just derive the meaning yourself. So how does Mo feel about trying to climb nameless? The student has written he is excited about the idea. Okay, yes, correct, he got his 1 mark for writing this feeling. Now second part of the question is give 2 details. Now the question starts with the word give, that means you must be clear about it, that you can copy the answer here. In case of give 2 details, you will go back to the text, you will take out the feelings, you can copy them the way they are written in the text, copy them, and he just leaps onto the smaller tree. This is 1 detail. And second detail is that and he only takes 10 minutes to climb the smaller tree. So these are 2 details, you can write them in 2 different sentences, and he has joined this with conjunction and, so 2 details are there, but you can write them in 2 different sentences also, or you can write them the way they are written in the text, mentioned there in the text. While writing the detail, the better idea is that you copy the words written there in the text. But if you just explain it, then as well you are going to get your marks in this question, specifically in one feeling, two detail question. Next question is G part. Part G has two questions, and mostly these two questions are taken from one paragraph and they are interconnected. Basically, one thing is mentioned there, and the second part is also related to that specific problem. Now, look at this. First question is, during his climb, Mo discovered a problem which he had not seen when he was on the ground. What was the problem? So you will read the text. This one line answer, it's written there. From the ground he hadn't noticed the gap between the branches of the tree. And what was the problem? So simply, if you want to be more targeted and to the point or precise, you can simply write there that there was a gap. The problem was there was a gap between the branches. Simply, there was a gap between the branches. Now, branches of that tree. What did Mo decide to do to solve the problem? So jumped from one tree to the other. He jumped. Basically, the solution was that he jumped from one tree to the other. So he got his 2 marks because the answers are very clearly written here. Last question of comprehension task. Explain using your own words. Explain. Now it starts with the word explain. If it starts with the word explain, that means it requires implicit understanding. Using your own words. Second thing, using your own words. Merwood's different feelings. Another thing is that different feelings. You have to write 3 different feelings of the same character, that is Merwood, and you have to write those feelings. You have to explain those feelings in your own words. Whenever you have this feeling question, whether it is that earlier question that was 1 feeling 2 details question or this 3 feeling, you are supposed to write the feeling part in your own words. Okay, different feelings about Mo climbing nameless. Now, first part, that is feeling part, you will write that in your own words. Second part, that is give 3 details part, you are supposed to, rather in this case, in this question, the better way is to copy the sentence that is mentioned there from the text and just paste it here. Give 3 details, it requires explicit understanding. So here you can copy sentences. Now look at this. At first, Merwood can't believe, or he couldn't believe Mo is going to do it. So first feeling is the feeling of surprise, feeling of uncertainty, or feeling of disbelief. He couldn't believe or he can't believe. Now see, in line 20 he says, you aren't going to climb it, are you? So first feeling is mentioned there. At first Merwood can't believe. This feeling is mentioned here, and this is in line 20 he says this is the evidence of that feeling, because he says you aren't going to climb it, are you? So the way it is mentioned in the text, he has written it, he has copied it from the text. He didn't say that in line 20 he says he said that he isn't going to climb it or he isn't going to do it. The candidate has copied the words of the text, and you are also supposed to do this, the same. Second is that he is angry. He is angry or worried. Okay, he is angry and worried. Mo is going to get hurt. Now this is, he is worried or he is angry because he thinks that, why he is angry, the detail is, the evidence is that he thinks that he is going to get hurt when he shouts he can't watch. Now first feeling, it's evidence. Second feeling, angry and worried, then after that it's detail or it's evidence, and then last one, and I really don't think that's very smart, that is the detail of here. There he has mentioned one is angry, one is worried, and then he has mentioned two details. Mo's going to get hurt, that is for being worried, and when he shouts he can't watch, and I really don't think that's very smart. So three feelings and three, I think this was the kind of a question that mostly students, they were not sure about that how they're going to write the answer. So that would explain it, that first write first feeling and then give its evidence, second write second feeling and then write the evidence. Evidence is, you can just copy from the text, and then third feeling and then the evidence. Now there's one more thing about this question, that sometimes this question is about the whole text. You can write, see, give three details from anywhere in the text, and sometimes this text, this feeling question is about just one specific paragraph. You have specific paragraph, you have to read that and then you have to write your answer. That's all for this comprehension task. Inshallah, we are going to discuss use of language task in our next video. Allah Hafiz, take care.